Hey guys, so I was saying the other day that I wanted to start making videos showing you guys some ideas on how to make different baby foods. I am going to start today with that, with doing apples. I have to make some anyway, so I figured why not make a video. So yeah, here's how to make some apples. My cutting board and stuff is still at Nathan's, but the first step you would do is take your apples and peel them and wash them, which I've already done, and then cut up the apples into slices about this big, but like if you have to cut them smaller and stuff like that, don't worry about it. Just avoid the core, so just pretty much chop them up like you would if you were making an apple pie. So once you have all of your apples cut up, the next step is to put them in a pot, and you can see, depending on how many apples, depends on what size pot you want. And then you just want to pour some water into the pot, just enough to boil, like to simmer it. I don't know if you can see or not in there, but I put about this much water just in the bottom of the pot. Maybe not even that much. So a lot of people add cinnamon or different flavors or anything to their apples, or even different like pears or different fruits like that. But where I'm don't mind that. Where I'm just starting to introduce solids, I decided just to go with just the plain apples. The next step you would want to do with your apples is boil them. For me, I put them on high to begin with, and then once they start boiling, I turn them down about halfway, or sometimes even onto low. So you can see here that my apples are already boiling, and they start to get soft pretty quick, so make sure that you keep an eye on them. You want to make sure that you keep your lid covered at all times, except for when you're stirring it and checking it. You should check it every few minutes just to make sure that all the apples don't stick to the bottom. Just stir them around a little bit. If you notice that you're starting to run out of water, just add just a little bit more and just kind of poke them to see if they're soft enough. You'll know, like, they get super gooey when they're almost ready. When your apples are ready, they should look something like this. I think you should be able to see that. And they're going to be really soft, and a lot of the water will be evaporated. But if you have extra water, just leave it in. Once your apples are cooked, you can put them in blenders or whatever, but I find that apples are easy enough just to use a potato masher with them. So I'll show you that. Just mash them all up and make sure that you get all the clumps out and everything like that. And if you have a picky eater, Brayson isn't a picky eater, but he doesn't like to eat sweet potatoes, and I just mix sweet potatoes in with a lot of his food. So even afterwards, you don't have to mix them right away, but you can mix them later. And a lot of the food that I mix up with breast milk, or if you formula feed, you could use formula, or even just put a little bit of water in them. But with the apples, he hasn't had a problem with them, and he likes the consistency of them, and when they're not quite so runny. So just like this is just perfect. Once your apples are all mashed up, you can either serve them just how they are, or I like to freeze mine for later. I have these little cubes like this. You can also use ice cube trays. I have some bananas in there already. But you can pretty much put them in whatever. Just make sure that they're covered. I like these because Brayson usually eats 1 or 2 of these every meal. So I'll usually mix, like, I'll give him one of these with food in it, plus some like ice cube things of whatever else. And I find that a lot of the time his food expands a bit once it starts to freeze, so don't fill it all the way up or else the lids are going to pop off. If you do choose to use ice cube trays to store your food, make sure that you cover it over before you put it into the freezer. And then once it's frozen, you can take it out and put it into a bag with the date on it. That's pretty much it on how to make applesauce for your baby. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I hope this helped.